Welcome everybody to the Tips and Tricks SIG May edition. Thank you for all coming on May 10th instead of the May 3rd, the first Monday of the month. I was out of town traveling. I was actually in Bob's area at that exact time. No, I was driving back from Bob's area. So that's why I had to postpone it for another week. But anyways, normally we'll have our open forum and then we'll go into our topics and take it from there. Who'd like to open up the floor with the first question of the evening? None. Great. All our computers are working just great. We've solved every problem in the world. I see Harry's got his hand up. Yes, no? Can't see Harry.
I do. No, not today.
Okay. Start your video, Harry. There we go.
Scare the mice away, right?
Yeah.
Gotta correct the limbs.
That'll work.
And
Tim doesn't have any cat stories today?
Why not? I got one right here on my leg.
Well, have it speak up.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hi, Pete.
hey, Pete.
How's it going?
Aloha.
Aloha.
Dennis has his hand up. Yes, Dennis.
Am I off mute? I think so. Okay.
Yes, you are.
For my new Win 10 computer, I don't really want to get a subscription to Microsoft 365 or whatever. I may go with, like the LibreOffice, something like that. But my question is, I do have, disks for Excel, Word, package for, I think it's 2007. You think I'd be able to install that on my Win 10?
Yeah.
Sure.
Really? Okay.
It'll install. It'll run. You might even be able to, if you coax it enough, get a few of the updates that were on it, but no guarantees.
Okay, but you don't think it would load anything that may override any more recent files in my system? I remember years and years ago, you sometimes when you installed something, it overrode some files in your system when you had the latest and put older ones back. Shouldn't be that kind of an issue for me.
That can still happen to some degree because part of the files that may get overlaid when you install new software are what's called DLLs. And it could be that you have the newest DLL and all of a sudden you load in, especially older software like you're talking about, and you get a new DLL because it does not check the versions to say, hey, you got a newer version? I ain't going to install this. So the end result is you get the overlay. Then when you find out you got a problem, trying to figure out how to get it straightened out is the next issue.
Okay.
But Dennis, it should work.
Okay.
Generally, yeah.
Okay.
Dennis?
Yeah, I mean, I find that as much as they've improved Excel and Word with all these latest and greatest features, I'll never even use all the features I got on even if I had version 2003 or something. I mean, it had all the basic stuff that I needed.
Well, that's always been true. We use less than 10% of all the features that are in most of our software, particularly Office.
Dennis?
Yes, sir.
You can get, I got Windows 2019, the install on the PC, not the 365. They had it out for $100. I mean,
well, I didn't even realize that they still sell it.
Oh yes,
Standalone.
Yeah.
Yes. I can even send you some.
2019, $100. It's
Yeah.
normally 150, but they were running a special.
Yep.
Direct from like the Microsoft store or
Yeah.
something?
Right.
Hang loose. I know of a authorized reseller that sells that stuff. And hang loose for 1 second, and I'll see if I can find what I'm looking for. It'll be a first, but
If you got a new PC, you might as well put 2019 on it.
Yeah, I would agree.
Then you're good
I would
for a long
agree.
time.
Yeah, I don't mind a bit of an investment just to get.
you would have to buy this today before midnight. But I've got like a coupon here for $80.
Oh,
2019 Professional Plus.
Post it in the chat.
yeah, put it in the chat. I might buy that. Because I got 2006 on my other machine.
Hang loose. I gotta find what I'm looking for.
And Dennis,
There it is.
Yes, sir.
FYI, I have installed on my Windows 10 laptop that I am currently on right here,
Uh-huh.
Word 2007.
Okay.
So it's been
Yeah,
working for
it
me
works.
for years. I keep rolling it up in my new machines as I go because that's the one I own the license for. So I have no problem with running it on Word, Excel, on my Windows 10 machines.
Okay.
And I'm a very infrequent user, like most. So I'm not worried or needing the extra stuff to be current. But that your mileage may vary.
Right. Right.
You get, if you're using Outlook, you get the newer version of Outlook, which has kind of a little better provisions than some of the things.
Yeah, and I'm not using Outlook. So in my personal case,
Yeah.
then I would definitely want a newer version.
I used LibreOffice for a while. It was okay, but Microsoft Office is better.
I use LibreOffice for years.
Yeah, it's okay.
LibreOffice does what I want it to.
Hang loose. I'm trying to get there. If you're that impatient, go
You
find
just-
it yourself.
He's just a beginner. It takes him a while to get things done.
Jerry, I noticed your background there. Can you tell your Russian friends to let go of our gas and stuff on the East Coast?
Highly unlikely to have been a state actor. That's what the New York Times says.
But I think they're located in Russia.
Yeah, yeah. Well, these are places that don't care who does what.
Yeah.
Russia, Romania, any place in Eastern Europe. But
Tim,
what I wanted,
Well, that's a
Tim, do you feel that
massive
this
pipeline.
Pardon? One at a time.
Tim, the link you sent, do you feel this CSP cart is
I bought from them, not Office. I have bought Windows Pro licenses from them. If I had a problem with, all they do is they give you the key. You download Office from Microsoft. You put in the key. If it rejects it, you contact them and they'll get you a new key because they don't keep track of the keys as they various people send them out. And sometimes it's the first person who inserts it, so to speak, gets it. And they'll just issue a new key upon request.
okay? So it's a one-time install. I download it, installs in that computer, and I'm done. I can't load it anywhere else or anything. I got another computer.
up to 3 computers, right? One license for Office.
Up to three, I
three.
think.
License.
So yes, you could use it on multiple machines.
Usually, though,
Sometimes.
what is required if you're, say, going to move it from machine A to machine B, is to remove it from machine A first, then install it on machine B, and it doesn't care. But some people, if they're only using one computer or the other at a time, can get by with installing it on both, and it doesn't seem to care about that either.
There are different versions of Office. There's the personal version, the family version, the business version, the enterprise version, and there's more. So you have to know which version you're getting as to how many computers, if more than one is possible.
Okay, if in other words, you have to know which type of license this is.
If it's
Correct.
a 365, you can put it on a desktop and a portable device.
Yeah, but Dennis already said he's no fan of 365.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to keep paying every month or every year for a subscription. That seems like a waste.
This is why I use LibreOffice. No subscription. And it's getting more and more compatible, though, as it has said, it's not totally compatible. It's not totally for everybody.
And the LibreOffice will, if I get a machine converted to Linux, the LibreOffice will work on that. Bob?
Absolutely, because that's where it came from.
LibreOffice came from the Linux community.
Right.
Okay.
There's a lot of software you guys are running on Windows that came from Linux world. That's the reality.
I will cover a little bit of that when I talk about Linux software next week, Tuesday.
Now, the funny thing is Microsoft is backporting its stuff not only into Mac like it has for a lot of years, but they're now porting it back into Linux as well.
Yes, this is so that they can have servers and so they can eventually offer a cloud desktop. The cloud desktop will make us all Chromebook users.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I
Yes.
install this version that Tim sent us the link, does it want to call home all the time? If I use this computer quite a bit offline, will it want to keep calling home to confirm it's legit or anything? Or?
Home is Microsoft. It's their product. It's their key. This is a reseller. Most of Microsoft's products that don't get sold in the store are sold by their business partners. This is just, I think this outfit used to be like a jewelry store, and they somehow got in a partnership and were selling the Microsoft products. And I guess they were making more money there than they were in the prior business, which may still exist. And they just kind of split the two. And now this is strictly Microsoft stuff. And I get ads all the time in my email. Because once you bought it, they got your information. So they'll tell you when they got new deals coming up. And sometimes they offer 10% off. Sometimes they offer as much as 20% off. So you can get Windows Pro, which is all I've bought, as low as $60, which is not impossible to beat. It's just difficult to find a reputable source that's cheaper.
Did you send the link? I don't see it.
It's in the message. It's right after the name that I put there, CS.
There's no message.
Did you put it in the chat?
Yeah,
don't
There's
see
nothing
it.
in the chat.
it's in the chat.
I don't.
Not in
I
not
don't
my
see it.
chat.
Mine
I
neither.
don't see it in the chat.
The chat is naked. It's empty. No clothes on.
I'm
Okay.
staring right at it. It says Office and Windows.
Oh,
2019 from
Tim.
cspcart.net. And then
Tim.
it has the link.
Hey, Tim.
Mhm.
Tim, I sent you a chat, and when you sent the link, you sent it direct to me as a reply. So I have
okay.
it. I have it.
Sorry about that.
I see it.
I'll copy it and put
I
it
sent
out.
you a private message, and then the thing came to me.
Okay. I didn't notice. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it has to say to everyone.
Yeah, I know.
I
But
knew the
I
emperor
didn't-
had no
I
clothes.
didn't pay attention at the time.
There it is.
There it is.
Okay.
Yay.
Here we
Thank
go.
you.
And you have to do this before midnight because that's
Tonight?
when this sale at $80 ends. Otherwise, I think it'll go up to 99. I think that's the last price I previously saw from this source.
Still a good price.
Yes, it is.
Is that, if I read that correctly, what's the link there?
It's info@cspcart.com.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Now,
Yeah,
if you want to go to the web, it's cspcart.net.
Okay.
And Tony, if you still got Apple products like Mac,
Yeah.
they have a Mac version that's on sale there too.
Is that great, man? At the same address, correct?
Yeah.
Good man. Thanks. Appreciate
Just go
it.
to the web address and you can see all of what's there.
Thank
This
you.
I get in my email.
Great job. Great job. Ooh.
Okay, next question, new direction. Harry.
What?
You thought you were napping, Harry.
No.
Um,
Now, I asked this to Bill last meeting we were at, and I thought it was Bill, but maybe it was Harry. Harry, were you building a gaming machine?
No, me, not me.
Somebody in this group was building a gaming machine. And
You know, I was trying to think, wasn't it, I can't think of the other guy that you come to West Side all the time.
if you remember who, let me know.
He didn't come every time, but he was there and he always had an answer for everything. And he had all kinds of stuff going.
Yeah, somebody was building one, and I wanted to tap their resources because I've been tasked with building one for my nephew.
Oh, the funny part there is there have been articles published recommending what parts for a particular range of computing power it's affordable to you. And I haven't seen one now probably for 6 months or more. But every now and then I get one and I publish it in the More FYIs it sounds like the people who put the list together of recommended parts to put the whole thing together know what the hell they're talking about.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of wanted to tap into some resources before I just arbitrarily go out there and buy a box and a motherboard. And, you know, I kind of know what I got to do, but I'd rather have some guidance here to put this together effectively.
You still got to decide between Ryzen from AMD or Intel processor too.
Yeah,
that's a headache.
It's not a big decision to me. It's just, you know, what can I get for the price and can I get it? And then build it from there.
I think everything is still reasonably available except for the graphics card. You'll have to probably step down to the NVIDIA 2000 series or the older Raytheon type of graphics processor, which I think is in the 5700 range versus 6700 and 800.
Right.
By the way, a word to the wise about a coming shortage. The cryptocurrency Chia, CHIA. Look it up and look what it's going to do to hard drive
SSD
prices and SSDs, especially the big ones.
Did you read on how fast it can consume an SSD?
I get the Windows Secrets newsletter. I know all about it. It was a headline article.
Yeah, I just can't believe how fast it devours an SSD. I mean, it actually kills it.
Yeah, but what I worry about is with all the media attention, it could be like the toilet paper shortage. It could be self-fulfilling.
Yeah.
Well, on top of that, I mean, you have the Apple Mac M1 processing systems. Is believed that there is a flaw in how they set that up, and it could kill the SSD in it faster than it should.
Hey, Sanford, was
Yes.
that Lee from West Side that was,
Lee Lannert?
was it him that had a son or somebody he was working with that he was talking about?
I didn't recall Lee Lannert saying that to me, but I'll touch base with him.
Okay.
Speaking of that cryptocurrency, that question caught me off guard when I was doing my income taxes. It said on the Ask Me on TurboTax is, did you have any virtual currency? And for a few seconds, it caught me off guard, threw me off, and I thought, oh my God, that applies to me. But I'll tell you why. So last year, I got a pretty good sized federal refund and got it direct deposit into the bank. And I told my wife we got this deposit. She went shopping later that evening. The next day, the money was gone. And if that isn't virtual currency, I don't know what is.
Wow.
Oh, that's temporary currency.
That's like my script.
You were supposed to spend yours before she got it.
That's called the velocity.
That's not how it works.
That's called the velocity of currency.
Which yours is hers and what's hers is hers.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dennis, I did see that going through the tax preparation software. They are asking whether you bought and sold any digital
Capital
currency.
gains.
I guess they're looking to tax this now.
Capital gains.
Capital
If you
gains.
bought it in at $10,000 and it's now going for $50,000, that's a capital gain.
Yeah. It's a capital gains, but is it a capital gains if you leave it in the crypto?
No, I don't think so.
No.
It's when you pull it out as cash.
I believe so.
Yeah.
It's when you cash out, if you cash out within the United States.
Right.
If the location where the transaction is said to take place, which can be placed offshore, is not in the United States, then you're subject to somebody else's laws.
Is this new this year?
What, cryptocurrency?
No, not
The
crypto.
IRS.
On
The
the
IRS
on the IRS
obligation?
form it is.
That's the first I've heard of it.
Because it's the first time TurboTax ever asked me that question, but it was in there.
Yeah.
Can I
think
use
it is
the
new.
eBay and Amazon's definition of US for shipping as my location? Because most of them won't say we're in the US.
For you,
I
you're not in the U.S., right?
According to Amazon and eBay for shipping purposes.
Oh, right. You're in a foreign country, even though you are in the United States. You know.
Alaska and Hawaii are exceptions to almost everything.
But not on taxes. They still find a way to tax you still just as much as the rest of us, Pete.
No, more.
Sales tax applies as long as they have a presence here.
If there's a presence here,
Right.
virtual currencies have a presence in South Korea or someplace else.
Or in the cloud.
Well, the other thing that comes to mind with cryptocurrency and gaming machines on the graphic cards, the reason they are so damn high in price besides part shortage, they use them as a computer, put several of them together on a special motherboard, and they mine unattended, unsecured cryptocurrency and basically steal it.
Well, that's how you acquire it. You can either buy it or you mine it.
Yeah.
So it first
the
starts
mining
out,
is stealing.
Mining is not truly stealing. It's open.
No, mining is not.
source.
It's actually mining. It's
It's
actually
open source.
It's right. It's generating it from nothing, from the ether, just like you would mine out of the ground and process it, and you get crypto out of it. But that's how Bitcoin and the rest of them actually started. It had to be mined first to create the coin. Then you could start trading it.
Right. Cryptocurrency doesn't tie itself to anything tangible. So its value depends upon what people say it does. And initially, as Sanford said, it was if you put in the work of mining it, then you've earned some of it. And it isn't that you take from somebody, it's that it is created out of nothing. And this is what raises so much concern about what is its true value? What happens when people discover what its true value is?
Well, also too, you have had a lot of banks with cryptocurrency knocked over, so to speak, through the internet. And that
Yep.
was a form of mining that's being done, taking somebody else's cryptocurrency and then being able to use it.
Well, that's not mining, that's theft.
That's
theft.
right.
That's
Right.
theft.
Many of them will still say that it is a form of mining because they're looking to find unsecured or poorly secured cryptocurrency out there that somebody has. And if they can, they take it from you.
Well, that's
Did
like
the same
people-
thing with gold claims.
With what?
It did the same with gold claims. When somebody wasn't tending it, somebody else took it out and it was gone,
That's right.
even though it wasn't legally theirs.
Am I going out of my mind or I'm just hearing things?
So does anyone here actually own any cryptocurrency? Ooh, we're all pushing the forefront.
I
Yeah.
know some people one town away who bought in early on Bitcoin, and they were the ones who like put 1,000 in, and now they've held on to it, and it's worth a lot
A
On
lot
paper.
of money if they
on
wow.
paper.
Yeah, on paper. But even PayPal is now into the currency. You don't own it; they own it. You just have I guess you could call it a right to a portion of what they own.
It's like a license agreement, right? Like Windows. Yeah. You
I guess in a
don't
way.
own it.
Yeah. There are terms and conditions.
You can
Yeah.
buy your new Tesla with it.
Tesla.
So who's going to buy into crypto? Anyone going to buy any?
Nope.
No one's interested in. I mean, we got some good investors in this group. I would think it'd be all over this.
No,
I
I look
take
at
risk.
when you talk about investing, you have to look at risk, and if it's too high a risk, most people won't do it.
Too conservative a group.
Like Dogecoin. Dogecoin was really, really cheap. Now it's like doubled and tripled in value.
Sure.
Even
The other
though,
night it dropped terribly last.
well, that's because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elon Musk didn't he just come out and say that it's a scam?
Do they pronounce
no,
it
he-
Dogecoin? Do they pronounce it Dogecoin? Because they always use the dog logo. I thought it would be pronounced Dogecoin.
Yeah. No,
Semantics.
Musk bought $1 million or $1 billion of Bitcoin, and I understand he's making more money off that than selling the cars.
Yep.
Probably.
I think he did that just so he'd have a way for people to buy cars with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
All I know is I would have more faith in going and buying a lottery ticket when there's a 500 million or more out there. And if I lose $2, I lose $2, but I have more to gain. With Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies, you never know what it's going to be 5 minutes from the present.
Well, same with gold or silver. You don't know where it's going to be.
Well, in a certain sense, you do in the United States because the government had put a cap on holding gold, so they have some say over how much it's worth. And so if I mine an ounce of gold out of the ground, I can't hold it unless I leave it as natural ore. If I melt it down to make an ingot or my own coin per se, then I may not be able to keep it. It has to go into a repository of some kind. And I think that has to do with government control.
Since they took the gold standard off, it's a kind of a floating number for that.
Yeah,
That's why gold has been up and down.
sure. And the same with
Silver
cryptocurrency.
too.
Yeah, cryptocurrency too.
I
Silver,
have got a couple of fillings here.
silver is a lot more stable, and it's poor man's gold. That's what they refer to it as.
Okay, we need to move forward. We're on a
Now let's go back.
we're on a diversion topic. Next question, another direction.
Anybody have a Comcast outage today?
No.
Not me.
They got me for They got me for 6 hours out in the south suburbs.
Ooh.
Wow.
Probably some drunk hit the right pole and you were out.
No, I don't think so. They said it was pretty general. In fact, they were showing that they had at one time, the one number I saw, they had about 8,000 people didn't have it. But it went out at 9:30, and every time I checked, it was still out. And then finally, it came back about 6:30 tonight.
Works fine for me.
In my area, Nat, sometimes you lose electricity, sometimes you lose the internet and cable because some damn drunk hits pole and takes it all out for an indefinite period of time.
Those damn drunks.
I live near a substation, and when something like that happens, all of a sudden you hear one hell of a big boom. And then the next transformer kicks in and it goes boom. And when the third one blows up, you're out of luck until they take care of the short and replace the transformers.
NIPSCO's have been fighting a losing battle the last year or so with their electric lines.
Yeah.
Too much expansion.
Well, Comcast works perfectly fine where I am.
Does anyone have any questions in regards to streaming services as the topic was in Westside from this last meeting? Who here uses streaming devices, no matter what it is, to do streaming services? So we got 1, 2, 3,
Xfinity.
4. But are you using it part of your cable?
I am, yeah.
Okay. So you have cable, and then you added on some streaming services on that?
Through Xfinity, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't done any streaming services per se. I use my Apple TV or my Fire Stick, and everything I download free. I don't have Hulu, I have HBO and Showtime and some other things that I get there through the internet.
Okay. All right. Pete, what are you using?
I have Spectrum cable, and that's it.
You're not using any streaming?
I don't know what Margaret's doing.
You're not Margaret's tech support?
Well, they live on different sides
Only
of
when
the
things
island.
fail am I tech support. As long as they work, I don't.
So those of us that are using streaming devices, what streaming apps are you guys using? Tim, what are you using? Who are you accessing through?
I have Netflix and Hulu, and I have at times had Amazon Prime.
Okay. Carl?
Amazon Prime, PBS.
CBS.
What else?
That's what did they call that now? Paramount, right?
Prime.
CBS. They changed their name.
TTW Prime.
Oh, TTW. Okay, so you got PBS.
I also have a PBS subscription. I use a computer to do the streaming.
Okay, well, it's still a streaming.
Yeah.
Whatever
And
the device is.
I stream from any of the major broadcast networks. If I fail to record an episode, or if the recording is all crummy, then I have a backup to stream it. Or
And the rest of the group, I'm assuming, is just using cable, and they're happy because they get everything they need on there.
Yep.
Oh, we have a Prime subscription only because we're in Hawaii.
Right.
Well, and you have to use Prime shipping in Hawaii if you want to at least survive.
Get anything. Right.
Well, after last week's session, I went and added Netflix to my system, which is free because I am a T-Mobile customer.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is
I
that
mean,
because I mentioned it to you?
Yes, you did last
Yeah,
week.
and
Thank you. Thanks for that.
and that saved me like $15 a month for that.
Yep.
Yeah, after the meeting, I did go and I was looking on. I don't do it now, but I was looking online at Roku, and I saw that they had like a $99 premium version of Roku. So my question is will that Roku take care of, like one of the users says he used Fire Sticks, and will the Roku do all that what the Fire Stick did, etc.? And
Mostly, yes.
okay,
I have an old refurb Roku 2 that I got from Amazon, I don't know how many years ago. It still works just fine. I also have a Roku stick. I haven't used it in a long time, so I don't know if it'll still work properly or not. And I have an old Fire Stick, which may not work anymore, or it doesn't have all the services current ones may have, but they may be upgradable. I don't know.
Dennis, don't know about the quality, what that particular device will give you for $100. They all are kind of similar.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the nuances would be in what apps you can get, which is pretty much mostly all of them. There's a couple of asterisks there, like you can't necessarily get the Apple TV Plus on a Roku.
Right.
That Apple is on Apple, and that's pretty much it. But you pretty much you'll be able to get almost everything you need on any of the devices. I think it has to do with what capabilities. What is it? Are you driving? What are you driving it to? Are you looking at 4K or are you looking at 1080p? Do you need 8K? Do you need DVR capabilities or not? If you're just looking for straight streaming, you can get away with a moderate device, $50.
okay.
Oh, even less than 50.
Well, I just pulled that out of the air. I wasn't actually
I
quoting.
understand. That was the norm before, but now you can get them almost half that.
Yeah, and I used to use, in the early days, I used to use an old Android TV box that I picked up for less than $50. That one, you can only load just so much on there. Kind of important to note is how much internal storage it has, how much RAM it has, just like on a PC. No, you don't want anything less than 16 gigs of storage and nothing less than, I'll say 2 gigs of RAM, but that's just pulling it out of the air. In other words, a device you want to have a minimum of 2 gigs of RAM and 16 gigs of storage. That would be the bare bones. Anything up from there is gravy.
Well, I'll add to that. See, the Roku 2 that I've got sort of is a squarish hockey puck.
Right.
And it also has a USB port where you can plug in a flash drive of any size. And that serves as extra storage for when you want to download. In some cases, some of the channels that you might want to subscribe to periodically, if you don't go to them often enough, they want to download to that storage device content. And that way it comes up quicker so you can scroll through the stuff and make your selection much quicker.
Right. And that's where like the speed of the unit comes into play too, is how fast it takes for you to get through the screens and load up something and turn on and off an application. So, do a little research on it, buy the latest and greatest if you can.
Does Chromecast still work?
Chromecast still works.
Yeah. In fact, they've got a fairly new one that's less than a year old, new model.
Yeah, the new one does 4K.
Yeah.
Now,
I had a problem loading my VPN on Fire Stick. I side loaded it and it worked for a while, so now they're telling me that they won't support it anymore. That's Fire Stick. So I have to do it. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's very true. Now, I use a VPN, especially on my Chromebook, that I use for more of why I article mining. And for a while there, it wouldn't work. It stopped working when I got an upgrade in, and they worked on it with, I guess, Google, and now it works again. So it can be they don't want to upgrade the operating system for one reason or another. But the other is they don't know where your signal is coming from. And some content has borders, so to speak. And they know VPNs are being used to get around borders to get content you're not supposed to get. And so a lot of them are trying to block that kind of stuff, unfortunately.
And that could very well be is like, I want to watch a sporting event in my locale, but I can't watch it because it's blocked out in this area. So I have to tell it that I am in Baltimore to watch for Pittsburgh or something like that. I'm just pulling that out of the air.
Right.
But that could be the scenario. Or it could be as simple as I want to watch something that's broadcast in England, in the UK, and I'm here. The only way I can watch it is tell it that I'm in the UK. You know, or get a BitBox or BritBox or something like that.
Yeah.
I have a friend in the UK, you can get their password and then you can put that in and it'll work in your area.
Okay, you know, I just made that in making up these scenarios as I'm going along, but yeah.
It's very real too. And that's really what a lot of people are doing. Exactly what Sanford said.
I think Netflix was going to put a limit on a number of people that could use a sign-in. I read somewhere.
Yes.
Also, Netflix does have regional detection. They banned VPNs a long time ago. Things like that. They won't even let Linux users use it because Linux has some tricks.
They banned VPN, so that means if I have a VPN, my Netflix now won't work?
It may not.
Netflix may not go through a VPN. May not.
Tony, why is it you feel you need to use a VPN on your Roku?
Not my Roku, on my Fire Stick.
On your on your Fire Stick. Why?
Because I was getting like 80 channels of, Lifetime and Showtime and all those premium channels on it. So I have 80, 90 channels on my TV. I can get ABC, CBS, those regular ones. I can also get Lifetime, and I can get
But what does the VPN do?
It allows me to get the content that is only otherwise available, and if you pay for it.
Well, the other side of that same coin is, Sanford, you were talking about the gaming machine that somebody wants you to help build. More and more gamers are going to VPN because of a lot of BS that's going on out on the internet for gamers. So they're using it for privacy.
Yeah. But with VPNs, it's very often about just 3 words: location, location, location.
Okay. All right. We've kind of covered this subject, I think. Shall we go on to a new subject?
Well, let me just mention one thing.
Yes.
I'm on the Roku site and I'm looking at that $100 one, which they call Roku Ultra, comparing that to the $39 Roku Streaming Stick Plus. So what the Ultra for about $40, what they say the Ultra has that the other one doesn't, it has, besides wireless, it has an Ethernet port.
Yeah, that's steady Ethernet internet access versus Wi-Fi, which is fluctuating.
Okay. And then it does have local playback via USB. Says it has Bluetooth. I'm not quite sure why it has Bluetooth.
Usually for like Bluetooth headsets, so you have privacy listening.
It has a headset. It comes with a headset. Okay. Plus, it has a check mark for Dolby Vision, which I don't understand.
That's quality of the video.
Okay. Then it has a micro SD. No, it doesn't. It doesn't have that.
That's for expandability and local storage.
Dolby Atmos, ATMOS. Dolby
Ah,
Audio.
you have
Oh,
no
it's
idea
audio.
what Dolby Atmos is?
No, I didn't know that.
That's
Okay.
all audio quality, high-end quality.
It's a system,
Yeah.
Okay.
kind of like a Bose sound
Okay,
system. It's a
okay.
system. So Dolby
Says it-
Atmos,
Says it.
the nice thing about Dolby Atmos is you can build it piecemeal. And as you build it, the system gets better and better and better. And you can do better sound simulation in your home with Dolby Atmos than you can with most systems that are out there. You could have speakers in the front, in the back, on the sides, and up in the ceiling. And you could have the sound actually travel from the front to the back across the ceiling. It's incredible what the system will do.
Okay.
The Roku, I think, is trying to compete along the line with the NVIDIA Shield, which also supports Dolby Atmos. I mean, those are more high-end devices and audio playback. So if you have a really good home theater, you could be putting in Dolby Atmos, and you want something robust to be able to drive that system, to be able to handle all the audio channels, and Dolby Atmos would be the way to go, as well as going with one of these high-end Rokus or NVIDIA Shield or some other device.
If I could jump in, I just put in a Atmos system, and it's the height speakers, and the ones I have point up, but like you said, from the ceiling, they can point down.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Ken, how do you like that system?
It's pretty good. I've only got a few things that play on it, but it's pretty nifty. Yeah, you do hear, little bits in that, and it spatially goes across the room like you were describing.
Right.
Yeah.
Bill, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I forgot. Other than I have a different question.
Okay.
If we're done with that subject.
No, I got a question on that subject.
Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, two things. One, after the last meeting, I had Roku Express in a box that I had bought, and it didn't sound like it was anywhere near as good as the $39 one that you were talking about, because it doesn't have all those extra bells and whistles. But when I went to install it on my TV, it wouldn't connect to my 5 megahertz
5 gigahertz
router. I couldn't get it to do it. I put in I had a really long password. I put it in 3 different times. And so finally, last resort, I went to the 2.4 and I connected right up. Now, why it wouldn't want to go faster, I have no idea.
That's because it's an older device that you have there. The newer ones handle dual band capability.
Oh, okay.
That's the reason.
One other thing to check. There might be a firmware update available.
That's worth checking.
It did the firmware update as soon as I did it, so maybe I can go back and look.
Yeah.
Actually, my son had given me a 4K unit, and I did hook it up to, I have a BenQ 4K monitor now. I hooked it up to it, and it worked on it also, which I thought was pretty nifty. I have the 4K hooked up to my 1080p main TV. I'm going to swap it and put this little one, because it goes 1080, and put the 4K with my BenQ, and I'll have it here. I have one more question on Roku. I have it's an old one, because it was 2002, so it's 19 years old, a $5,000 Sony 1080i 720p projector in my basement, and I have a 133-inch screen. Is there any way that I can use a Roku device to feed it? Because it has an HDMI output, but I have a 3-lead red, blue, green going into my Sony projector.
There ought to be adapters.
Does it have HDMI input?
Oh, I wish it did. No, it doesn't. It was.
Well, then it have a DVI.
Pardon me?
Does it have the DVI port?
No.
Sony
This is vintage 2002. it just didn't have it. It cost $5,000, but it didn't have it.
Carl,
You need an old Roku, a real old one.
Oh, okay. Maybe that'll be
but
it.
the real
Or-
old
or
ones
get
don't
it-
have 4K. Or
Right.
two.
No.
Well, you don't want 4K.
I know.
Ed,
No,
time to sell that that device and get a new one.
Yeah, I know.
Because the 130 inch, you'll be able to really see the difference on a 4K video.
Yeah, I hear you, and we talked about that separately. Oh, by the way, thank you again for the thing that you got into Dropbox, and I finally got it back. But
Okay.
I want to tell you, I got an Apple expert on, and when I went to send it to my grandson, it wouldn't go because it said the file was too big.
Right.
I had a problem on my Mac where I only had like 4.5 gigabytes free in the memory. It has an SSD. But anyway, he was able to help me solve that problem by moving my movie files over to an external hard drive. And then, but more importantly, he had me send it, and he showed me how to send it. Even though my normal email wouldn't take it, if you have an iCloud address, you send it from an iCloud address, and the file that Stanford gave me was 1.3 gigabytes. I put it on the iFile, send it through, instead of my regular email address, I use the iCloud address. It goes up into the cloud, and they get an email. It has a really long, like it's 8 lines long on a wide screen address, and it's good for 30 days. So all my grandson has to do, and I CC'd myself in a different account just to make sure it got there.
Sure.
It went beautifully. Even 1.3 gigabytes with no sweat.
Okay. There was another hand up back on our subject.
Oh, no.
No. All right. We good with this? Bill.
Yeah, in the presentations on Monday, if I understood one of the presenters correctly, I have 4 TVs with Comcast, and of course you pay another 10 or 15 bucks extra for each TV you add after 2, I think, or 3, whatever it is. And I thought he said that if you had a smart TV, that you could use Xfinity Stream and eliminate one of those fees.
And I did that.
You did that?
Yes, but not with a smart TV. I did that with my old Sony 720p TV. And what it is, it didn't come up quite the same. What it came up is the Xfinity beta stream, a stream only in the beta version. But I was able to go in, and I can do it on this computer. I can do it with this screen also with Roku.
Well, I don't.
They did have me sign in to say that I was a Comcast customer.
Okay, well, I got a smart TV. So what I was wondering is if I can download the Xfinity Stream app to that TV, and then look at all my programs, because this is down in the basement. I don't use it on many channels, and then actually use Xfinity Stream for that, but do away with that monthly charge for this TV.
Yeah, and that's the for me, what I have is one of those tiny little boxes, and it's a $750 charge for it.
Yeah, that's what I got, and I want to get rid of it.
I think you can. I completely disconnected that, hooked up that little Roku Express that I have. It looks like it's this big, the piece, and that's all there is to it. It has a HDMI port and an old and a mini USB port to it, and you hook it up to a charger, and it worked.
Tony?
Yes, I have Comcast Xfinity, and I have I have 4 TVs. One is a smart TV. The other 2 are Samsungs, and on each of them I have, I think it's only one of them is hardwired to my system through the coax, but the others have Fire Stick and Apple TV, and I just stream wirelessly into the system, and I can go where I want and I don't have to pay anything extra. I don't see what you're having. In fact, one time they asked me how many things I have on my stuff. I said, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4. But I mean, they could probably see what you have, you know.
Yeah.
But when I put my VPN and I block them out, they don't know what the heck I'm doing.
Well, that's the other thing too about VPN. VPN prevents your ISP, whoever it may be, from seeing what you're doing and knowing what you're doing.
Correct.
When you don't have a VPN on, they see everything you're doing.
Right.
They can sell that information and make money off of it.
So thank you for that, Tim. So I keep my clothes on when I'm online. They don't know what I'm doing. Right now, I don't have anything under here, but you guys can't see it anyway.
I do have one question on the Roku boxes, Stanford, if I could.
Go ahead.
Yeah, does it make a difference if I just go into the regular Comcast router? There's no security problems with using these Roku boxes, is there?
Anyone?
No, there's no security that I know of.
There's no security issue using them on any ISP.
Okay.
That I know of. I mean, I haven't heard about them being hacked. That doesn't mean they can't be, but I haven't heard them being hacked.
Okay.
The devices, that is.
Right.
Well, the devices are what are called in general IoT devices, and they are all subject to having no security of any kind, no AVs or other stuff. And that's why some people are using VPNs, and they also may use special devices for IoT device security, so that if something breaks into your house network or a business's network, they can't get to the IoT devices.
Good.
It acts like an extra firewall and stuff like that.
Thank you.
Does anyone use Malwarebytes? New subject.
Yeah, I do.
You got 2 hands up. 3 hands.
Oh, that's a clock behind me. That's why I see 3 hands.
No, there's 2 hands on that one. Ba-da-dum-ba.
All right. Good. Just want to see if you guys are awake.
I think Jack, you use it?
I think he was.
Can't hear you, Jack.
Yeah, I'm muted. I just can't get my lights right. I'm all dark.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
like silhouette.
Huh?
We can't see your face. You're like a silhouette. We can see your background though.
Yeah.
Which is very pretty.
I have to play with it later on.
What's the question on Malwarebytes?
What?
Tony?
Tony, what's your question?
My question is, I use it on my Mac systems because I don't put anything like that on my PC. And it's kind of cool. I mean, it keeps the thing relatively clean. I've never had a problem, first of all. And I was just recently getting some rejections here saying that Opera's file is corrupted or something. Put it in your garbage. So I'm going to dump it, just not worrying about it. But I wonder if anyone was having any challenges with using Malwarebytes.
Well, I use it on my PC once a
No
month.
problem.
I use Malwarebytes like crazy. It's just a case where it's one of the better tools for cleaning out all the garbage. However, there are basically, I'll call it 2 versions. One version comes with AV of their ilk, and the other one does not have AV. And you can download the one piece of software and you have to turn off, I don't want the AV. That's what it amounts to.
So what would you recommend? No AV?
Well, that depends. If you got other AV on your computers, and why pay for another one? And usually having more than one AV on a computer causes conflicts and erroneous positive results. So it's best if you've already got stuff and you're happy with it, make sure you turn off the AV from Malwarebytes, and you'll probably be as good as gold. it finds things that other software cannot seem to handle. Spybot search and destroy is another one. There's a anti-spyware program. They just don't quite measure up to what Malwarebytes is capable of doing.
Well,
I guess I was under maybe the wrong impression. I thought Malwarebytes, what I remembered from using it years ago, it was like a one-time program to run. But you seem to be saying it's a full-fledged antivirus.
There are two versions.
It can be. It still has the main function of detecting and removing any infection in your system, but in the last year or two, they added AV capability and some other things. All of these applications are having to evolve and cover more and more bases because the AV by itself is detecting less than 50% of all the bad stuff occurring. So you have to have a level of additional security features built into the package turned on in order to give you a maximum protection anymore.
Well, add to that, I understand that Comcast Xfinity again, they had their antivirus software built into the routers until I think the beginning of this year. It was part of what was the name of that company? I forget it. But anyway, Norton, right? Yeah. But they took it out and they put their own security system on their routers now. They say, and I don't know how well to trust them and that's why we run the Malwarebytes occasionally, and my Max and I don't have a problem with them.
Well,
I have Comcast, and I have never accepted their security.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I used to have Comcast too. They were offering the Norton, and I didn't want Norton. Norton has and McAfee have bad reputations for being, I don't know, over bloated, and they slow down your system and hog up a lot of resources, slowing you down. So I go for the lighter stuff. And I may have multiple things, but not multiple AVs. And because AVs don't catch as much as they used to, it's the other security features that are in a lot of these packages you badly need to stop bad things happening in your network.
Then again, Windows comes with a firewall, with anti-ransomware, which you can turn on, with its own antivirus, which is active antivirus. And your web browsers are now, almost all of them, much more hardened than they used to be.
Well, in Windows Defender, which is part of what you're talking about, which is the AV part, there is bolt-ins out there right now. It is loading up your free space with a lot of junk files, and it's a known bug that they've got to address as quickly as possible. But that's the first, shall we say, major issue I've seen on Windows stuff.
And there are ways of cleaning up your system that might reduce that problem.
Yes, and there's also the fact that the Windows firewall is anemic, and other AV packages either bolster that firewall package, building it up some, or completely replacing that firewall with supposedly something that's better.
I prefer not to have a firewall constantly blocking me from places that I know perfectly well are safe.
Actually, I've never run into that problem so far.
And I don't like the excessive pop-ups that some of these HIPS firewalls give.
Usually it's not the firewall that I have an issue with. It's the other security software that's doing the pop-ups and giving you warnings about locations. Sometimes it's because I've occasionally done a typo. Now, a lot of people do a typo, and it stops you from going to somewhere you definitely don't want to be.
Yeah, well, most web browsers, especially Chrome, will also stop you from going someplace really bad.
Yep.
They have blacklists.
Yep.
What happens, though, is there are some programs that go the other way. They have whitelists of places you can go.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little restrictive.
Yeah, it can get overburdened.
But let me ask a question related to that. Does anybody use this Google Transparency Report? It's something that Google has. You plug in a website name, and theoretically, it goes out and checks that website to see if it has safe content.
I haven't used that feature.
Let me see if I can find it. I'll give you a link. But nobody else is using that. Okay.
I'm afraid of using anything that Google has. Yeah.
There are reasons not to be using too much Google stuff, that's for sure.
So this says
okay.
Google Transparency Report shares data that sheds light on how policies and actions of governments and corporations affect privacy, security, and access to information.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like a lot of stuff.
Hey, that first word, shares.
Right.
That's a big red flag on me.
Well, I think what it's doing is you're posting, you're going to this transparency report, and you're going to plug in a URL for a particular, let's say Facebook, and it's going to yield or give back to you. It's not telling you how it's using for you, but it's going to yield what Facebook is doing with your data. Where does it all go? And I believe that's what it's for, but I haven't tried it. Let's see.
See all these guys. I like to look at my apps in particular. I use a lot of apps to see what data they're using, and you can opt out of some of them and say, "Do not share my information. Do not do certain things." And
right.
Right. In fact, I had one today. I downloaded. It was a church site. I said, "Well, these guys have things." And when I looked and I checked it out, say we don't share information, with anybody or anything, and I respect that, and I appreciate it. But these are the guys said most of the apps or things say that they do share your information, and there's no way to get around them saying no to it, and that's it. I don't like that.
Well, the other just be careful.
I just put the link to the
Okay.
Go ahead, Tim.
Just be careful about church sites. A lot of them are managed by people working in the church, and they don't know the internet worth a bean, let alone the websites versus professionally managed. And the end result is there are a lot of bad actors out there that try and put malware and put other things on church websites that may be offensive. So just be cautious about church websites.
Okay, Dennis?
I just put into the chat the link to the Google Transparency Report Safe Browsing. So when you bring up that link, down on the bottom, you just paste in or type in your URL, hit search, and it comes back and tells you whether it found any unsafe content at that address. So I've used it a number of times, like, when you do a search in Google at websites and some of the names I'm saying, I'm not sure I want to try that site, might be bad. I'll pop it into here and see what they say.
There's a lot of good stuff in here. For one thing, it's kind of a transparency site that tells you how many government requests have come through for Google information. What kind of requests have come from the U.S. government. And that's what I'm finding on the site right now. There's a lot of good data here that you can download.
What I've pasted into here isn't the main site. This is just one of the offshoots from the main page. And to tell you the truth, I really haven't scoped out the things you're looking at yet, Stanford. But I just kind of keyed in on this one little thing. where it checks URLs.
Well, see,
Right.
the thing is there too, there's a lot of bad actors out there that poison websites to infect you with all manner of malware. So it sounds like the transparency is trying to tell you whether or not they found such an infection in that website to steer you clear of it.
It looks also that it's more geared towards telling you what the government is doing.
That's true.
And what the government's been requesting from Google.
Yep.
I think that's what I'm seeing here is, what is the U.S. government under the Electronic Communication Privacy Act? What are they asking Google to supply to them? So they're this is like a research site. You want to see what's going on, this would be a place to go. For those of us that have too much time on their hands,
Yeah,
don't
apparently some of us do, but I don't
and really are worried, concerned over the U.S. government and the requests that they're making on from private individuals or from corporations about whatever. That's all I can say. Okay, Dennis, this is a cool one. I don't know much about it. I'm going to bookmark it and look at it at a future date and point. Pete is looking out the window. He's showing us that it's green, it's sunny. And that's all I could tell you.
Yeah.
He's got palm trees out there, little palm bushes.
Where's the
And
peak?
it is
Oh, it's a whopping 84 degrees out there.
today.
What was that, 167? What is that?
Oh, that's a set point for the grill.
Oh, the grill. The grill is
I'm using a grill thermometer.
Okay. I was going to say, if it's 167 degrees out there, boy, that's hot.
Climate change.
I thought that was the volcano.
You're too close to the volcano then.
No, I'm far enough away. Last time the one that I'm next to went off was about 70,000 years ago.
Yeah, I agree with Harry. If you can put a marshmallow or a hot dog on a stick, hold it out your back window, and it cooks, you're too close.
It's too hot.
It's too hot. That's right. It's too hot.
I'm glad I'm not in Iceland.
Well, you can also be down, I think it's in Nicaragua also.
Right. There's a couple of them floating around right now.
Yeah, a whole bunch of
We're passing through the galactic sheet right now with the sun, so things are going to get crazy. There's a.
You mean crazier than they already are?
Yeah. There's
Can't find that word.
coronal mass ejection coming our way right now.
Oh, I thought it was coming towards Mars.
What?
No,
we're right. They just released this morning.
Oh, well, that takes
solar flare.
Solar flare released this morning.
Great.
Did do inject coronal mass this time, but it's a low level one.
So we might get some aurora borealis somewhere.
Oh, on the east, they've been trying to send up that rocket to actually fire it off with a contrail.
Okay.
That should be some really, for you guys, further east than you. They're going to do it off the East Coast.
Right.
8 o'clock normal time there. 8 p.m. normal time.
Yeah.
But I'm too far away to see that one, I hope.
Yeah.
If I see that one, we're in a world of hurt.
Were you worried about the Chinese rocket landing near you?
No, not really.
The one that splashed down in the Indian Ocean?
Yeah, the Indian Ocean's a far way away.
Yeah, I know it is, but it was somewhat closer to the equator, so.
If it landed in my backyard, I mean, it's mine, right?
If
Good
there's
luck.
anything left of your backyard,
Good luck with that. You know, someone had Googled that. I'm not Googled it. I saw it posted on the web, and I didn't get to read the article that if it had landed on your property, can you claim it? And I don't know. I don't know. You know,
Salvage material, isn't it?
Well, I'd either sell it back to the U.S. government, the Chinese government, or my local scrap iron dealer.
Easy,
get it to
easy,
your
easy
scrap
deal.
dealer right away.
Easy deal.
Danford, I got a question when you get a chance.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, my brother-in-law just called me. He's down in Oklahoma, and when I call his phone, he's getting this message, and I'll play it on the speakerphone. Come on.
Please try your call again later. Announcement: all circuits are busy. Please try your call again later.
Oh, we can't hear that.
You can't. Okay. Well,
Tell us what it says.
basically- Pardon me? What it said was this customer is not accepting calls. He can make calls and go out. He has an iPhone SE, the older one. So he's making calls, but everybody's calling him. It's coming up and saying, you know, the iPhone is busy. You can't get calls. Anybody have an idea on that? Kind of
No,
like
I would call whoever his cell phone provider and ask them. Don't ask us.
I know that he went into AT&T, they replaced his SIM card, and they haven't been able to fix it. But I thought if someone that happened to know that was on this call, I'd just ask the question. That's all.
Don't have no idea. But then again, you tried calling me and you got a Verizon message saying my phone was not in service or something.
Right,
when,
exactly.
When I'm not on Verizon anymore, I'm on T-Mobile. So what the hell's going on?
I don't know.
2 weeks ago, I tried to call a friend of mine that I hadn't talked to in a while, and he had two lines. He had a cell phone, and he also had a landline in the 708 area code. I called both of them. I got that same message that they were not accepting calls. So I tried. First, I had done it with my cell phone. Then I tried it with my home internet line, and then I tried it with Magic Jack, and I got the same message all the way through. So I accused him of having my number blocked. So another friend of mine called him and told him that he needed to take the block off of my number, and he denies they had any way to block it. He said, I don't even know how the hell to block a number. But all of a sudden, a week later, I could call him with no problem. So I haven't figured out yet where the issue was.
Okay, thank you.
The answer to the question about if a satellite falls in your yard, is it yours? No. It's basically it. It goes under the scenario or the assumption if a car was to drive into your house or onto your property in an accident, does the car become yours? No, it's the person who owned it still owns it, even though wherever it's at, they're liable for it. So I guess that goes back to the satellite. If it fell in your yard, the Chinese still own it.
I'm still liable. Golf ball.
And you don't have to let the Chinese in your yard. You don't have to let them in.
But good luck in trying to collect an insurance claim from China. I'm just saying, I don't know how that would work because, you know, they'll say, no, it's not mine. It's not mine. Yeah, it's ours.
But once they say it's not theirs, then
yeah, that's true. Then they relinquish it.
When the Russians, that satellite that they put up that had the nuclear power unit in it, when it crashed in Canada, Canada got some money back for cleaning it up from Russia.
I would say that's a good point. Hey, Ed, your camera's out of focus.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know why.
That's just dust in it. A bit fuzzy.
It's all fuzzy. Did you stick your finger in the middle of it or?
No, is it still?
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, it's not sharp.
It's okay. I mean, we're all getting old here and our eyes are fuzzy, but
my eyes are dim.
It was fine earlier, Ed. It's only in the last couple of minutes.
I wash.
Okay, maybe because there was more outside light coming in, and now I just have one light. Last time I was on, I brought two lights over on either side.
Okay. Anyone else got any last questions? Anyone buy anything new?
Who can afford it?
Okay.
Whatever it is.
None. Okay, then shall we go into, we'll conclude our open forum and let's go into the topics. I sent out in the email with the list of proposed topics that we could discuss tonight. Is any of them say raising their hands, me, I want to learn more about this.
You mean?
Oh, Wayne, yes?
Yeah, the one about how to tell when it's time to replace your router.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
a
an
good one.
email, from Xfinity saying that my router is, probably doesn't work properly, and that my speed has been, increased here recently. So on my computer that's tied into directly to the router through the cable, I get 476 megabits speed.
Okay. Well, it's not necessarily the speed of your router. And is it your router you're referring to or your cable modem?
Well, it's got to be
or is it all in one?
I have a combo. I have a combo router and modem.
Okay.
Is that from Xfinity?
No, I bought it. It's
okay. How old is it?
How old is it?
Probably about 2-3 years old.
Are you happy with the speeds it's providing you?
Seems to be working.
Okay. Because it's a cable modem, it has a particular DOCSIS number. Yours is probably a 3.0.
Right. And they're saying a 3.1.
They want you to go to 3.1, and I don't recall. Maybe somebody else in the group knows what DOCSIS 3.1.
I don't.
First of all, Comcast is rolling out DOCSIS 3.1 into their network. And if the network does detect DOCSIS 3.0 and your device can't update 3.1, they will complain at you. This should affect quality of service in some way. I'm not clear exactly how.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out.
All right,
I guess I'm going to have to call them up and ask them.
So the difference is that it can handle more gigabits per second and more download speeds and more upload speeds. So it handles 10 gigabits per second on a download, 1 gigabit. Now this is not gigabytes, gigabits on the upload speed. Your DOCSIS 3.0 can handle a capability of 32 download channels at one time over a 1 gigabit speed. So the new one will have more capabilities, but if you don't need it, don't pay for it.
It won't make a difference. Go.
I'm getting a higher speed download than what they're saying that they're supplying me with.
That's them being generous.
Right.
Right.
Get the same thing.
And I get that too. Every now and then I'll get really fast download speeds at more than what I'm paying for. And then other times I'll get less. So it kind of averages out, especially when, school's out and people come home and next thing I know, it's, my network's down to a crawl because everyone's online, or Saturday night when everyone's watching something online, you can watch your speeds go down. The only way to get away from that is go to a different provider who has fiber up to your house. But goes back to, does he need to upgrade? I don't think so. But that's
unless you're a high-tier customer, or unless you've got a couple of gamers in the household, or something of that nature, why bother? It won't make a difference.
Well, of course, on my laptop, I don't get anywhere near that because I'm using Wi-Fi. So all the Wi-Fi stuff doesn't get anywhere near that.
Well, that's because it's fastest going through the hardwire.
Right.
And
I
then
understand.
your local network, your Wi-Fi network is subject to whatever your 2.4 or 5 gigahertz can
Yep.
push through. And how many devices are connect up to it at once? What are they doing? It all has to be handled by your router, your Wi-Fi router.
And these days, how many channels you're able to use simultaneously, MIMO and various other things which have to do with the wireless standards. There is a thing called Wi-Fi 6, which is coming in. I think it's also known as AX, and that will vastly increase what you can do with a wireless network.
There's also 6E coming around the corner too. And that's even higher because it goes into the 6 gigahertz bandwidth range. But you got to have devices that want and can support 6 gigahertz. Otherwise, it doesn't do you any good.
Wayne, are you subscribing to a 1 gigahertz speed from Comcast?
No, it's 400.
400. If you were subscribing to 1 gigahertz, then it'd be worth you to have a DOCSIS 3.1, because you're going to be pushing the envelope more often, and they want to be able to give you all that bandwidth that you're paying for. At the speed you're at, you don't need to do it.
Well, they told me they said they increased it to 400. So, and
Okay.
I noticed that was way back in December. So I just recently got this notice.
I'm surprised though that you're not getting the 400 on your laptop. Or I just ran mine on my iPhone 7 Plus, which is like 4 or 5 years old. I got 470 download and 23.5 upload. So it's I'm getting the same. What's the word? I subscribe to the Extreme, which is 400 also, and they're giving me more than 400, and it's plenty fast. But I'm getting it on my portable devices equally as well, on my iPhone.
His mileage may vary. Harry?
Since the DOCSIS 4 is out, or basically out since April of 21, it's kind of silly to go from 3 to 3.1.
It is, but
I mean,
it's going to be a long time before they adopt 4.0.
I don't know.
3.1 has been on the horizon for quite a while, for a number of years.
Yes.
I want to say 3-4 years, 3.1 has been available. It's just no one is the ISPs have not adopted it into their architecture. Now they want to do it, so they want to move as many people over to it, because then they could change their hardware protocols to be able to match up with those DOCSIS 3.1s. And it's part of their network infrastructure redesign or upgrades.
Yeah, and it could be 4 or 5 years before they adopt 4.
Right.
By then, you'll have 5 or 6 out there.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I've got a whole bunch of things that are on the 2.4. 3 garage door things. The bed, thermostat, camera, a whole bunch of things. They're all working on the 2.4. But I use the 5 because I've got a dual speed on my modem, on my Wi-Fi. I'm using my laptop with the 5.
So you want to pick and choose what devices you put on what frequency.
Right.
The further away the device is from the router, from the Wi-Fi source, the more likelihood you'll want to put it on the 2.4 gigahertz, because that can go longer distances. The 5 gigahertz has a shorter distance range, but because of the shorter distance range, it has higher throughput, so you can actually pump more through it. But if you're just doing an IoT device like your thermostat or even your cameras, those are low impact. 2.4 will do just fine. I'm going to roll back just slightly to to West Side's discussion briefly. Is if you're using any type of IoT device, it's recommended by Tim to create and use a guest account and have them only access the guest account, not your full-bred Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz account because the IoTs are easily hacked. And if you have it through a guest account, they can't get into your intranet, the network in your house, to be able to access your other devices in your house.
Now,
So,
Sanford,
yes.
Comcast doesn't have a guest network.
Oh, thank you. I was not aware of that.
If you're using their device, but if
their
you've got
device.
their own device like Wayne has, that
His
may
might.
not be true.
It might be true. Right. In my house, I have a DOCSIS, Motorola DOCSIS cable modem, and then I have a separate ASUS router. So there's two physical separate devices, and I have a guest account set up on that ASUS, and my IoT devices, including my Nest thermostat, only go through the Nest account or through the guest account to keep them isolated because those can be hacked. And I don't want them to be able to get into my network from that access direction.
That will work, but there is a trade-off with Comcast. If you use your own equipment for a modem, you will not have all their features available.
Correct.
That's what I have. I've got my own modem. It's a combo modem Wi-Fi, but my Wi-Fi I've set up. I've got guest accounts on both the 2.4 and the 5, separate from the regular 2.4 and 5. So
and that's where you put your IoT.
Yeah, so that's where I should be putting the others on the guest.
Yeah.
And a lot of those IoTs don't even run on the 5 anyway.
That's correct.
Right.
They just have not upgraded. It's an added cost. They don't want to scare away people from the cheap IoT devices that we're all getting very accustomed to having.
So back to this subject of when is the right time to upgrade your router. One of the key things to look at is, does the provider still give you firmware updates? And that means, are they still coming out with them quarterly, not just annually? Are they still coming out with them maybe quarterly? If they are, it's still supported, stick with the unit. If the unit has not been upgraded or be able to have the firmware updated in over a year, I would start thinking about getting rid of that router and going with the new device.
Well, the other thing that
Pete's got a question for you.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Peter.
I got a IoT. I have a smart TV that I'm using as a monitor. Should that go under the guest or the regular because it's wireless?
Guest.
I'd put it under the guest.
Okay.
If you have that option, if it'll let you do it, and I'll say, Pete, if it gives you the throughput service that you need.
I'm using it 99.9% as a monitor for my computer.
Okay, then I would just have it go through the guest or turn it off. Maybe you don't even, need access to your Wi-Fi, but go through the guest. Your TVs these days, they have not been upgrading the firmwares or any security on those things, and they are a black hole, if you will.
Yeah.
They are a shoe-in for somebody who wants to do anything nefariously.
Now, on this subject of wanting to replace the router, don't just take your old router and dump it. The funny part about it is, especially depending on the type of place you live in, a lot of people have very weak spots for your Wi-Fi. An old router that isn't even being updated much anymore can be used as an access point, which is the same thing as a repeater. And that way you can extend for no added cost your Wi-Fi coverage where you live.
Very good point.
It'd be a good place for your IoTs too.
Yeah. Right. And then what you could do is just to further this, what Tim is saying, I think that's an excellent idea, is you basically you got the IP address into the router and then reconfigure it to become an access point. And then tell it to echo or bridge mode, whichever they call it, in your router and then that will start to access your other router that you put in place. Once you get that configured, you could take that old router and move it somewhere else in the house. So now you have more coverage in that other part of the house. That works. That's a great idea, Tim.
Absolutely, and it's one of the funny things that because most people will say, "Oh, this thing isn't good anymore." They toss it out in the garbage. It fills up the landfills with junk, and very few of them get into a proper recycling center where the material is properly disposed of. So if you really have some weak spots in your place, you are already a candidate for a repeater, but you already have one perhaps in hand through that old router that needs replacing.
How many here use something like a repeater or a mesh or access points? I do. Yeah, so there's just a couple of us that are doing it. You know, if your router is located in a central location in your house, or not. Maybe it's located in a garage or in your basement. You got a multi-story house. Take that old router and put it up in the mid-level if you can, or in the upstairs, and let it bridge to the other router.
Right.
Even better if you could run a cable from the old router to the new one. Now you have a hardware transmit, and then it pumps it up to the upstairs and broadcasts it throughout the house. That's a fantastic way to go if you can do that. I have I have one access point running in my house too, and I found a big difference in the ability to be able to use our network, our Wi-Fi devices anywhere in the house. It just really boosted the signal.
Absolutely.
In my particular case, I bought a TP-Link access point, and it's a little gizmo about that big, and I plug it in the wall, and it works fantastic. And it was simple to set up, and I just put it in a spot in the house, and it runs 24/7. What this particular device helped me do is I have a camera out in my garage that I'm watching, I have out there just in case somebody comes in and out through the garage. That always had weak signal to it because it was so far away from my router. And in addition, it had to go through a steel door. Between my house and the garage was a fire door. So because, as it should be, an attached garage should have a fire door. The signal couldn't get through it. By me putting this access point close to that fire door, it's able to get through the wall. And now I can see that camera without any problem.
Well, the other thing with an access point like that, let's say that you had, and I do have somewhere in my menagerie collection, real old routers that only handle AG or N band, which is 2.4. And because most IoT devices only use 2.4, they make perfect candidates as an access point, just like a repeater.
You brought up an interesting, let's further this too. Anything that's running on the B bandwidth, you definitely want to put on its own separate access point.
Yes.
And not on your main Wi-Fi router, because the B series will bog down your network. It'll actually draw down your network, so the whole network is running at B instead of G.
Even G, I would consider a separate tune because you're talking N was around 75 megabits per second. G is 54 megabits per second, and old B, which was the original, is 10 megabits per second.
Right.
And if you got modern Wi-Fi in your place, it'll drag that sucker down to a crawl where you think you have an outage.
Right. Pete?
Not here in the house, but over at work, I actually have a gaming router as the primary point that the cable modem comes in from. And I've actually subnetted it into two different networks.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got the second, the 168, 192 XX. I have that changed differently for the two sides of the business because I once had makers over there. So they have a separate subnet. Well, if you do the separate subnet, you can do that out of most of the routers. You can you can spread your network out. So now you can have your IoT devices on a separate subnet than your regular stuff.
True.
Which
But
would even give another layer of protection to
Yes,
your main network.
but most people cannot handle subnetting. And I've got a degree in networking, and that was a hassle because some of them really get bizarre.
Yeah, I know that. I know that. I have a CompTIA old CompTIA cert.
Back to the article. I kind of went through what things you need to look at to see if you need to replace your router. One was is the firmware still being upgraded or updated? Has the device been listed as end of life by the manufacturer? In other words, they're not going to be supporting it anymore. Very important. Those two things right there would be the reason to get rid of it immediately. We could arbitrarily say if it's more than 6 or 7 years old, and that's just pulling a number out of the air, you may want to consider it. If it's 10 years old, absolutely do something else with that device. Yeah, it needs to be gotten rid of. If your speeds are not up to snuff, if you need 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, but your router only gives you 2.4, another reason to get rid of it.
Yeah, you have some routers, old ones that only handled T100 speeds on Ethernet, whereas modern ones are at least a gigabit
right.
or higher.
So in my house, I run both. I have NIC cable running throughout the house. I have 2 switches that are full. And I'm also running Wi-Fi at the same time. So some devices have dedicated lines running to them, and others are just Wi-Fi.
Right. I do the same thing, and I've got.
And there's only 2 of us that live in this house.
I know. Hey, there's only one in my house, so but I've got 3 routers besides the ISP's combo modem router. I got 3 other routers in here that I use to segregate things without having to go through Pete's subnetting. It works in a very similar fashion. And at the same time, too, we have a lot of situations where the total devices, I'm pretty positive about 4 or 5 switches with almost nothing in the way of empty port. And yet I only have a portion of the house hardwired. But right now I'm in the front part of the house on the east side. The incoming internet service is on the west side of the house where most of the equipment's at. And I have a lot of stuff spread out. So I have pretty good coverage both in Ethernet when I need it, and I also have a pretty fair amount in the Wi-Fi territory. It's all what you want to try and do.
Any other last things on this subject?
Yeah, this is now added some a bit of fog in my my rearview mirror, my windshield, and that is because I was considering to get security cameras around my house, in the front. I was thinking about doing it myself. I said, well, let ADT do it or somebody else. But now I'm just kind of throw some flags up in my head. Should they bring in their own router, or should I let them hook up to mine, or what?
ADT?
But ADT, just what a name. That was the one I think of. Not really them, somebody.
Okay,
else.
some security company. whatever the company may be, you're thinking about having them install a security system around your house, and you're questioning whether or not you should use their router.
Yes. Or let them network into mine. Yes.
I don't see an advantage or disadvantage of A versus B. Anyone, other than the fact you're going to have to pay for it, whether it's a monthly fee or a purchase price for the device.
Sure.
It's just a case where you got to isolate one from the other. That's what you're going for, so that you can still have the security. It communicates with the security company providing the monitoring, but at the same time, too, you don't want anything coming through the security system to get into your regular in-house network, because that puts your equipment at in jeopardy.
Yeah, because last week I was talking about my Samsung, my refrigerator. And Sanford reminded me, hey, you know, you got to be careful with whatever it is. But
yeah, well, we were talking about the guest account in regards to
the guest account, right. So the more stuff you add, I have a thermostat. I have, what else I have here? I have some speakers around here. I have Amazon Nest. I have it's not Sonic. What's Sonos? Wireless, all those wireless systems. You know,
very good system.
Yeah, those are very good. Yeah. So it now tells me, hey, you know, I've got to watch things. And when I just changed my router on Saturday from Comcast, now I'm not seeing the other devices. So I have to reconfigure something. I've got to look at it. I don't know what's happening. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. The Weiss system? A very good choice. That's a good choice.
Okay. I just saw that, this Wednesday.
Yes.
Wayne has it right there. He's showing it to us. Wayne, hard to see with your background, your video background.
Yep, let me turn it off.
No, we can see it now. Now that you got it below where your chest is at.
Tony, you have to register for that workshop by no later than about 11:30 p.m. tomorrow night.
Yeah. Wow. I'm going to register. I saw that today. Yeah, I registered.
Okay,
Thanks.
so Wayne was showing us he's got one, the Weiss system.
I've got one too.
I bought it at Micro Center. It cost about $30, $25, $30.
That much? I got cheaper, 20.
Mine is free because I don't have it.
It has a camera. It has a microphone in it. It's got. I actually used it as for a camera on my PC.
Interesting.
It has to be plug-in power, not battery, though, right?
Yeah. It's got a USB cord here.
They're not for exterior, just interior.
No, it's actually, not exterior.
There are units now from the same company, Nat, that
probably for exterior.
There are exterior models. It's what do you need it for? Do you want it inside or outside? Then you got to get into an IPv6 or something like that type exterior device that will have waterproof connections and where you're going to put it. That's a personal choice on where you need them, what is their job, their role, and what is it you want out of it. I have a security system that I put in around the outside of my house. I have nothing inside my house. My family does not want to see or want me recording anything inside the house.
Oh, they trust you.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's just that, I don't know what, it's just that that's what the consensus has been over the years is we don't need to see inside the house. It's the outside that's really important. Absolutely. Is somebody trying to break in, let's record the video of them breaking in the house. It's like a deterrent. Sure. So when you come up to my house, you look around, you'll see cameras all around on the outside.
Mm-hmm. But if you want full-time video, you're almost committed to having some kind of a power pack rather than being able to run them on battery.
Right.
Put stuff outside and you're satisfied with demand type. When they see something, they come on.
Right.
But there's also a delay in that sometimes, but they can be battery powered to last for a while.
Right.
And you have wired or wireless versions that you have to decide which is the better. I mean, it's crazy.
It is. It's whatever you want to do. You got to, just plan it out and determine what's your needs are.
Good.
I personally have a wired system hooked up to a DVR that has a hard drive in it, and it's all being done, recorded locally. Nothing goes out to the internet.
Yeah.
So I'm not paying a monthly fee, but I'm not getting the notifications like Ring would give you.
How much history can you keep on it, Stanford, with your setup?
Well, I've got a 4 terabyte hard drive on there. It keeps weeks, and I've got 6 cameras on it running 24/7.
Wow.
It takes a long time to fill up 4 terabytes at what it's doing. I think it's 720p is what it's recording at, not 1080. But you can get 4K ones too. They sell it at Costco if you want to get a system like that.
Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah.
You can get those and put those in. The nice thing about the wired ones is once you go through the effort of doing it, it's all set up, it's done, it's in place. You mount them and you're done with them. But it may not suit your needs. Maybe you don't have access to the attic or wherever it is you want to run the wiring, and the wireless is the only way to go.
What brand from Costco? Because I'm a Costco member.
They have 2 of them. They have the Ring, and they have the other one is
Swan.
I think.
Which
Huh?
one do you have, Stanford?
I think they have an Arlo system or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yours is not from Costco, Stanford?
Mine is not. Mine is actually I bought it online from Newegg. I think it's the Anke, Anke is the manufacturer.
Oh, Newegg, yeah.
Newegg. Yeah, I got a great deal on it when I bought it for like $90 plus, but I had to put my own hard drive in there. Whoopee. I had those laying around like Tim. They're like pieces of chewing gum in my house, hard drives.
Oh, the one thing on doing it yourself versus an external service is how much is the external service going to cost to get the wires that they need to get from wherever their nearest transport point is into your house to wire it in.
Right.
Because if everything's underground to you, and there's no port, there's no extra there already isn't an underground feeder for low voltage, they're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
Which can be very expensive.
So Costco's got a lot of systems available if you go onto their website.
Yeah.
It depends how many cameras you want. Do you want a DVR? They've got the Swan system with 8 channels. Comes with 6. It can record up to 8 channels. It has 6 cameras, and and records at 1080p, and that's $290.
You can check Home Depot and Menards for some of the. If you find the system you like, you can shop them for prices too.
Right. The good thing is this stuff has been out for a long time.
Yeah, so they're getting cheap.
Yeah, and they're not cheap, but they're not that expensive. I mean, if you consider what it costs for a security system to rent it, it only takes a couple of years to pay this off. And if you have to pay for 24/7 monitoring, that can rack up to, that's like $25 a month.
Yep, 30.
How much does it add for them to tie into the phone system for the call-ins on those external systems?
You used to have a monthly charge for $30. I had it at one time. Just not the cameras. I just had the ADT system for the doors,
Yeah.
And they were charging $30-some a month. And
$30 a month just for that.
Yeah.
And you had to have a dedicated phone, didn't you?
I used to have
Or
2
did-
phones. I
did it-
don't remember dedicated, not necessarily.
Okay.
I think years ago they used to require a dedicated phone, but I'm not sure they do now.
Anyway, the phone, because now you can have, But you used to call if you have a fire department. I remember once the fire department came because I inadvertently did something and the alarm went off, in the house. And they came, they said, next time they will charge me for coming to the house, the fire department. Yeah.
That's true.
Well, in our neighborhood now, a lot of people have them because they talk about having a secure neighborhood because kids go around doing silly stuff and setting fires in the driveway and in garages and all that stuff. So it's been now a thing they give out around here.
So then you had to put one out by your garage.
But my garage is attached to my house, so I'm not outside.
Okay.
I
So
drive up, my garage door open when I come in. Yeah. I live in a townhome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, next subject that's on our list.
All right.
How do you search
Yes,
a site
Dennis,
that has no search box?
how do you search when there's no search box? That was, I thought, was a pretty good one. Let me find that article and pull that up real quick. And let's see what it has to say. How to search when there's no search box. And this is under Ask Leo. I don't know who Ask Leo is.
Oh, he's very good. He particularly a lot of his audience is senior citizens. I think we qualify.
What is
Yeah,
it?
he's been out there for years. I've read some of his stuff too.
Yeah.
So what they're saying on this link, if anyone wants to go to it, is it tells you to use the Google search box and tell it to search within the page.
Oh, okay.
What's that?
Is that the same as like Alt F or Control F on your keyboard too, or no?
Good
No, that's
question.
fine.
Yes. Control F is one way of doing it. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's right here in the article too that says you could use Control F to bring up the search box within most browsers. So Control F, and if you do that in the lower left-hand corner of your a new tab will show up, and you'll be able to put in a search right in there, and it allows you to search within that page.
Yeah, I like to use. I've used that before when I go to websites like government websites like Medicare or something like that. And you bring up these big articles, and I'm looking for something in particular. I've used that Control F to search for stuff. It even tells you when it pops up how many instances it found. It says, "Oh, I found 5," and just keep hitting this down arrow, and it'll click to all 5 places for you. It's nice.
Yes.
Yeah, you go up and down with the up and down arrows.
Yeah.
Okay, this was a good one.
And it goes circular too, by the way. So if you had like the 5 instances like Dennis was talking about, you hit down to the 5th one, you hit the down arrow again, it goes back to the first one, and it keeps going round and round.
Next
yes,
time.
Dennis.
So Sanford, since at the last meeting you admitted to this group that you're an Apple user now, how about this? How to connect your iPhone or iPad to your TV?
Okay, how to connect that? That's yeah, you got me on that one. How to?
It's down in your list.
Yeah, it is on my list. And
Ed should know the answer to that.
Yeah, Ed.
Go to settings. This Ed or the other one? Which other Ed?
Ed would be the one. He's the pro at this.
Oh.
Because one of the things I know you can do is you could do screen mirroring. Is one of the things you could do. You can cast it from your device to another device that's in, like a smart device. If you have a Roku, but a NVIDIA Shield that uses Chromecast or some other devices, you just choose the cast function and that device should show up. Should, but not always. A case in point is I have the Apple TV Plus service, and it will only allow me to cast to an Apple device. Yeah. It will not allow me to go to a Roku or my NVIDIA Shield or anything.
So proprietary.
Yeah, well, yeah, they
Yeah.
seem.
Well, they keep the things under wraps,
The
safety.
Apple TV Plus service, then
Mhm.
anything else seems to work.
Yeah.
Like YouTube videos or something else that you can cast from those. But Apple wants you to stay in their universe.
Yeah.
And they force you in their hand on that one.
It's called the Orchard, Sanford. It's called the Orchard.
How nice of them. Yeah, and I found this out last night when I was trying to stream. I wanted to stream from my phone to my NVIDIA Shield, and I couldn't do it. But I could do it. I could do it from YouTube, but I couldn't do it from Apple TV Plus, their service.
Okay.
So I found that out the hard way.
Yeah.
So back to how you do it. It's basically a function when you go to send to screen share. If your device is visible, you should be able to just send it right to it.
On the network, right? Yeah.
Yes. And of course, yes, you have to be on the same
Same network.
intranet,
Have to be on
intranet,
the same internet. Yeah.
right, in the household. Of course, you can always do hardware cables if you had to. Like I might have to go and get a lightning cable, HDMI or something. Ugh.
Well, that's in the same room.
Yeah, right.
At one time when I first moved into this place, I was working back then, and I had the Comcast business system, and the modem and the router was downstairs in the basement, and everything is hardwired into the house. You know, they have coax all over the place, and I could have gone to any room and do anything I want, have my way with anything that I wanted, or anyone, that is. But I got rid of that now, so I have the modem upstairs in the office, the old office.
The higher up it is in the house, the better. So if you could put it in the highest level of the house, think of the signal coming down like an umbrella. It kind of comes down like this. So, you know, if you have it up high and you're below it, you'll get great signal. If you're above it, then you won't get as good signal quality.
Right. Yeah, I understand. That's for Wi-Fi broadcasting or distribution.
Right.
But what I was saying is that when I had the business system from Comcast, the router was downstairs because everything was hardwired in each room, every room in the house. I only have 4 rooms or something like that, you see. So every room has a coax joint on each wall and whatever. So it was just to put in a cable and I'm good.
Okay. Anyone else want to comment on this subject? No. Where did Ed go anyways? Oh, he left us.
Hey, Ed.
Because we were talking about Apple again. That's
Apple.
We got away from it, so you left.
An apple a day. An apple a day.
Yeah, Tony, you caught me. I know I admitted that I went to the Apple world. I'm not saying I love it. It's got its nuances, and I seem to discover the nuances all the time.
Yeah.
Like today, I noticed that my Apple Watch, when I ask it, "Who am I?" it thinks that I am my wife. So now, why
registered
is that?
in her name?
Yeah, it says her name. It says, you know, if I ask it, "Who am I?" it'll give my wife's name. And I asked my son this one. I said, "Okay, how come this is happening on my watch that's registered to my phone? Does it think that I'm my wife?"
Well, it figures that you're crazy if you're asking who you are and you don't know who you are. Somebody else.
I'm somebody else, and now I guess I got an identity crisis here.
Are you on a family account?
You mean mobile account?
No, on the Apple stuff. Are you on a family account?
You and your wife both?
Well, the service, we're both on the same. T-Mobile is our provider, if that's what you mean.
No.
The Apple account itself. Are you using that?
Strictly the Apple account. And who made the account? Her, right. Because she originally had Apple device. In which case, you are just a family member related to that account. And therefore, it thinks you are her.
Okay. That could very well be, because I know there's many things in which we have shared services with, like our Apple TV, I think maybe under her or me. depending upon which login we use or credentials. That's the Apple TV box, it's like a Roku.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we only have a finite number of devices here.
And
That was kind of weird. I'll figure this one out, or I'll let my kid
you
figure
may
it
have
out.
to look in the Apple account and see if you have to put a share in there in order to be able to pick who's using it.
Yeah, but my watch
have
should
you
be
told-
my
Have you
watch
told
should
the
be
watch
attached
that
to my
you're not
phone.
really?
Yeah,
It
my
is.
watch should be affiliated with my phone.
It
and not
is
hers.
affiliated with your phone, but your phone is now affiliated with an Apple account. And the question becomes, is it your own unique account or
Yeah,
is
that
it
it is.
yours?
That it is my own unique account because I
Okay,
created.
then it should identify you as you.
Right.
Unless it's crossing over somehow.
Apple has an ID system called an Apple ID, which can be attached to any particular piece of hardware you have, your watch, your cell phone, your iPad, whatever. But if you have it in the network and the network has one name in it, then it will consider
That name.
hooked up to the network that particular name. See? But I had the watch and I give it to my granddaughter. She's going to college. And I got another one, but I don't want to put any stuff in it. I just leave it like it. Just look at the time and the date and how fast I'm running. No other information.
Sanford,
Well,
have you told your watch that no, you're not this other person?
No, I haven't told my watch that. I don't.
Because I saw this on an original Star Trek episode that there was a robot on board the Enterprise, and Captain Kirk. It thought Captain Kirk was the creator, and he later told the robot, "No, I'm not the creator. You're wrong," and the thing burned itself up. So try that with your watch.
It'll burn itself up. Be careful.
Yeah. See,
Great.
I've
It's
been
on my
normally-
wrist. It's going to burn my wrist up.
I'm normally an Android guy, but last spring I joined up with the Stanford Apple Health Analysis is what it amounts to, and you had to have a Apple Watch and a Apple phone. Now I had to get the phone in order to join up, and I got a used one for a couple $100. And then I got the offer. Some people who joined it didn't get the offer, and others got the offer to get a Watch 5, which I've got, for $50 plus the original state sales tax for whatever the device normally went for. So I had to pay about a total of $82 and some cents for Apple Watch 5. And it keeps track of things like Tony referred to when I'm exercising, things like that. But it also has a cardio device in it where I can hold the crown down and give them an EKG, so to speak, or an ECG, whichever it is, to the university periodically. It keeps track of a lot of other data on me, and that it's a heart study primarily for AFib, but I am a heart attack victim and stuff like that. So I got accepted in right away. So I do have a few Apple devices, but not all of them are by choice. My old Macs, yes, I chose those, but I bought them used. So I got them cheaper than otherwise, but now there are several OS versions behind.
Speaking about that, just to add a quick thing to that addendum, I had a chip planted in me here a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, from the COVID vaccine?
No, easy now, boy.
No, Tesla's chip, the one that goes in the head.
I'm sorry, Tony. Go ahead. We cut
This
you off.
one here, I mean, I can show him a scar, but they may have other adults in the audience. I don't want to do that. But anyway, I was having these fibrillations and all that stuff. So I went to the doctor, I was in the emergency room, etc. Anyway, so the implant this thing, it was a nice operation, cool and nice. So now I have a little card I carry around so that when I'm going through the detection thing in the airport. Don't mess with me. I'm bionic, you know.
With
Now, this thing,
pacemaker.
no, it's not a pacemaker.
Oh,
It's
This
just
is
a
just a
data
monitor.
collection
It's a
device.
monitor collection,
Oh, okay.
collecting stuff, and they expected to stay up to 3 years. They get the optimum amount of data information after 2 years. In 2 years' time, they'll get everything that they should need, but it may stay as long as 3 years. Anyway, the point is that they give me a Samsung phone, you know, to monitor this thing because it reports back to them all the time. It gives them the EKGs and everything else. And I didn't look at that phone. I just leave it in the house just so I asked them, if I'm going to see my daughter in California, what should I do? They said, look, you can leave it at home if you want to. When you come back, it will pick up all the things and send the information to us, or you can take it with you. So I don't have to travel back and around. Once I'm in the country, it will monitor and send stuff, information.
So do they attach it right to your heart, Tony? Or
No, they put it under my skin, underneath, not under the heart. They didn't go to my heart. They just went just here, you know, just on top of here. Like, easy. Hey, stop it. Stop it, you guys. That's why I didn't want to show you guys. I don't want to show you guys.
You
Stop
showed
it.
us some flash. You showed
It
us
reads,
some
it reads localized points like the EKG does.
Huh?
I think it reads
Right.
localized points
Yeah.
on your body like an EKG does. when
Right,
they
it
take
does the reading because I had the other choice was to come up through the veins and do what is called a myoplasty. They would go up to the leg,
Angioplasty.
and then angioplasty, and then come up there and say, well, forget it, go with this one here. So, yeah.
less invasive.
You've
Huh?
got time stopped anyway because it's 2:30 at your house forever.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
It's still 2:35.
No, that is not, you are not supposed to detect that. That is supposed to be an inside secret, okay?
He never
Well-
ages. He's always the same place in life.
Leave that, you know. I'm not going any older. I'm getting better. That's all.
Okay, we're running out of time here. We're running close to the end. So is there anything else on, first thing, did anyone else want to add in on the subject?
Apple tip.
Yes.
I have an Apple tip. You may already know this, but you can use your space bar as a cursor movement. But
My
so when you're
space
typing-
bar is a cursor movement.
Yeah,
in
so
what?
when you're typing stuff, you know, you mistype because it's on a small phone and stuff.
Oh.
So then you want to move the cursor up. So hold the space bar down and you can move the cursor.
That's
It's
on
like
the
a
phone.
mouse.
On the phone?
On the phone and on your iPad.
Well, not on the computer because I'm on the computer now. It's not happening.
Well, no, your computers, you got a mouse.
This is an Apple thing.
Yeah, Apple
I'm
iPad.
Apple.
and
I'm all
Apple
Apple.
phone.
See, now I'm using the
Just type something in, then hold the space bar down and you can move your cursor around.
Okay.
Try that.
Okay. Anything else on my list of things that I had posted there of subjects we want to discuss tonight? Yes, Dennis?
The last item, I didn't know that C Cleaner had a browser. C Cleaner
Yes.
Browser. I never knew that.
Lots of companies are making Chromium-based and some Firefox-based browsers because Chromium is the foundation of Chrome. It's very popular. That's why Microsoft took a copy of it and made the new Edge Chromium browser. So in a sense, it's very much like Edge is as far as that goes. I have a Vast AV. They make one too. And a whole bunch of others. I mean, everybody's jumping all over this thing, having their own various versions of a Chrome or Firefox browser out there. It's crazy. They're mostly touting some kind of a privacy situation compared to just using Chrome or Firefox itself.
It says it's kind of, I believe this might be built it right into CC Cleaner or C Cleaner.
No.
No? Is this a download?
Yep.
No,
Every
it
now
is
and then, when you want to run C Cleaner, it'll ask you, do you want to install this CC Cleaner, well,
That's right, it
CC browser into your system, and it loads it up in addition to doing your scanning.
Yeah, the trouble is, it also tries to install itself when you update or upgrade the CCleaner program. And it's just like when they tried to silently and automatically install a Avast antivirus. I have several times had to clean this junk out of my system, and then it messed up all my file types and branded everything. I had to redo a lot of stuff, including some stuff in the registry. So if they would be honest about how they install it, I wouldn't mind it, but I will not use it because they're doing the same trick that they've done with everything since Avast took over the company. They try to foist it on you.
That's getting more and more on lots of different pieces of software we may have been using for years. And they're doing more and more crap that tries to get you either into their branded group and or collecting more different types of information about you. They may be selling to advertisers and marketers, etc.
Yeah, the trouble is this particular company, I don't trust when they have something you can voluntarily opt in or opt out, and it's obvious how you can opt in or opt out. They have had so many things happen. Now, I do still use CCleaner, but I don't like the way the company has been going with this product.
Yeah, there's a lot of others. There's Malwarebytes and I can't think of the other one right now. I think it's Avast even. They're complaining about CCleaner having pupware. And I also have found that on a few other different pieces of software by other companies. And pupware means that it's a probably unwanted program that may be doing some spying on you. And you can, in many instances, get rid of it. The bad part is, in some cases, you can no longer use the actual program that you want if you get rid of it. So it's kind of like damned if you do and damned if you don't.
It depends on how you try to get rid of it. But in any event, this particular browser does claim to be safer. It claims to have additional sandboxing. In other words, it's got some kind of a browser firewall. And it will protect you against dangerous sites and dangerous things that sites can do. So for many people, it would probably have some benefits.
Yeah, and same with the Avast and a bunch of other ones. I use Ghostery for ad blocking on the browsers, and now they've got one, only that one's based on Firefox rather than Chromium.
Yeah, I haven't been using Ghostery in Firefox. I don't use Firefox in Windows, so I haven't run up against that one yet, but I have been reading about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have only one machine that I actually put the browser on to check it out. And it didn't take me very long to figure out, hey, this is not based on Chromium. This is based on Firefox. It's very obvious if you really get into tuning and tweaking your browsers.
Yeah, Firefox is a nice little browser to use. It has some benefits over Chrome, especially that you're not using anything having to do with Google. But if you use the plain vanilla open source Chromium, that is also nothing to do with Google. Well, except that Google owns it.
Yeah, well, you don't know what they're exactly doing with it. But the other thing there is more and more I'm using DuckDuckGo as my search engine instead of Google.
All right. Great mind thinks alike.
Yeah.
Since you touched on that, does everyone here know about DuckDuckGo? Anyone not know what it is? Okay, Wayne, you don't know what DuckDuckGo is?
Oh, I use it. I
Okay,
use it
you
on my
use it.
iPad.
Okay,
Right.
anyone not know what DuckDuckGo is?
All I
Good.
know
All I know is
browser,
it a
right?
browser, but I've never used it.
No,
I
it's
don't
It's
not
a
a
know.
search
browser.
engine. It's a search engine.
It's a search engine.
It's
You
not a
use it in-
browser.
Oh, not a browser.
Every single browser gives you an option in settings to change your search engine from whatever they recommend to a different search engine. And there's even a few new ones I've seen pop up recently that I've never heard of. I haven't had time to research any of them. But DuckDuckGo has been out there for quite some time now, and they claim to be very private, and they don't keep information. They don't sell the information. So it's starting to get more traction as a search engine option that should be considered if you don't like the potential privacy invasion of Google's search engine.
In addition, if I may add, the other reason to use something like DuckDuckGo is when you're searching for stuff, you're only going to be fed what that provider wants to give you. So they're going to pre-filter it before they give it to you. Let's say you're searching for a particular type of light bulb, and Google will only show you certain brands because they get paid advertisement from it. So that's the reason they'll show you it versus DuckDuckGo will show you more brands, if not all the brands that are out there of the particular light bulb.
More objective, yeah.
Right. So that's the reason is you're not getting a refined or restricted search as you will in Google. And I found that to be the case quite often in Google where I'm searching for something and I only get 10 results back and I know that there's more of this particular product, but I can't understand why I'm not seeing them all. It's because that's only what Google wants to give me, and they don't want to give me any more.
And the DuckDuckGo doesn't haunt you with all of the places you've looked at for days afterwards, like Google and a couple of the others do.
Yeah, years.
You went out and searched light bulbs, and then you bought light bulbs. The next day, it's trying to sell you more light bulbs, and you don't need them anymore because you're done.
Right.
You know, and it keeps pestering you to buy these light bulbs. So,
so if I have Google Chrome open, how do I tell it I want to
Go to
use
the three dots, the three vertical dots in the upper right area. That drops down a menu.
Okay.
Down near the bottom is settings. You bring up settings, and somewhere about 2/3 of the way down the list of settings there is your search engine, and it'll say Google. And you can click on that area and get a drop-down list, and there's DuckDuckGo in there.
or you can also just go right in your browser and type DuckDuckGo and go to their website and do all your searches right from there.
Yeah, but I prefer to change the actual browser search engine. That way, it's always that way.
Yes. I'm just saying there's multiple, just in all these things in Windows, there's multiple ways to doing the exact same thing.
There is, in computers, no single way of doing anything I have ever found. There are so many ways it's not fun.
Okay. Any other last things?
You got anything particular you're going to put in the chat to save or for?
I don't think there's anything in the chat that we've discussed that, let's see, was there anything in there?
It's a couple of things, a couple of
early
sites.
on, we were talking about transparency browsing.
Yeah.
And then there was the $79.99 deal for Microsoft Office for Windows 2019. That was it.
It says $89.99. I went and looked up there.
Oh, they raised the price.
That could be. It wasn't. It was supposed to be good until midnight.
Well,
Midnight. The question is midnight where?
East Coast. Well, it's still
East Coast probably.
No, Israel. I think it is.
Okay.
It's
Possible.
8 hours ahead of us. No, it's I just looked at it after just as you said it, and it's $89.99. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? If not, I'll call this evening concluded, and we'll see everybody next month.
Sure.
Good meeting. Had fun.
I enjoyed a good meeting. I had fun.
Yes, good
Sounds
meeting
good. Very
as always.